Police officers who have arrested other police officers, what happened? Ex-sheriff's deputy here. One night on shift, I overheard on the radio that Chief Morrison, head of our small town's police department, wasn't answering radio calls. This was unusual because Morrison was known for being a control freak who micromanaged every call and demanded constant check-ins from his officers. So I made my way to try and locate him. Morrison had a reputation in our department. He was the kind of chief who wrote up officers for being 2 minutes late, but somehow never seemed to follow the same rules himself. He'd been caught sleeping on duty multiple times, but because he was tight with the mayor and city council, nothing ever happened. On my way to the police station, thinking maybe he's just passed out on the couch again, I see his squad car pulled off onto the side of Highway 9, emergency lights flashing. At that moment, my heart sank. My first thought was, oh no, this guy just got killed on a traffic stop. As I'm walking up to the car in a hurry, I noticed that he was slumped over the steering wheel. I reached into the open driver's window and grabbed his shoulder to try and put my fingers against his neck to feel if he has a pulse or if his skin is still warm, and generally check to see if he is in fact still alive. As I'm doing this, I notice a distinct and strong odor of alcohol. Not just a little bit. This guy reeked like he'd been marinating in whiskey for hours. Then Chief Morrison woke up, looks at me with bloodshot eyes, and without saying a word, puts the car in drive and pulls away. Just like that. No explanation. No acknowledgement that he'd just been caught drunk on duty in a police vehicle. About that time, Deputy Martinez pulled up behind my car. I put out on my radio that the chief was driving off, trying to keep my voice professional even though I was furious. Martinez, forgetting that we all use a shared frequency that Morrison could hear, then comes over the radio and says, "Hey, he should be easy to follow. His lights are on." The lights immediately went off. For the next hour, we had a surreal situation where 2 deputies were essentially pursuing our own chief of police through back roads while he tried to evade us. Morrison knew every shortcut and hiding spot in the county, but we managed to keep eyes on him until he finally pulled into his driveway. I called my sergeant, who called the sheriff, who was not happy about having to deal with this mess. The problem was that Morrison had connections everywhere. The mayor, half the city council, even some county commissioners. Everyone knew he had a drinking problem. But he was also the guy who helped get their kids out of trouble or made DUI charges disappear for the right people. But this time was different. This time he'd been caught red-handed by multiple officers, and there was no way to sweep it under the rug. Fast forward to several hours later, Chief Morrison shows up at the station with Mayor Thompson and the city attorney. They'd clearly spent those hours strategizing how to minimize the damage. Morrison looked showered, changed clothes, and had probably consumed enough coffee to fuel a small aircraft. The mayor demanded that Morrison be allowed to submit to a breathalyzer test to clear up this misunderstanding. By this point, it had been nearly 4 hours since I'd found him passed out drunk in his patrol car. He barely passed. The breathalyzer showed 0.79, just 1 point below the legal limit. After 4 hours of sobering up, coffee, and whatever else they'd pumped into him, Morrison kept his job. The official report stated that he had experienced a medical episode and that alcohol was not a factor. I was written up for failure to follow proper protocol when checking on a fellow officer. 6 months later, Morrison was promoted to regional police coordinator. I transferred to a different county. The system protected him, just like it always did.